Etepu, Assalamu alaikum, Namaste, Haru Nefer. This is Qesankh with a special broadcast for you. And in this broadcast, I want to talk about total transformation mastery. Yes, good stuff there. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this below. Hit that like button. And if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. And if you're interested in knowing more about my spiritual teachings, you can scroll down below and click on one of the 4 links for a free ebook. You can download today and start reading right away. But if that just wets your whistle and you want to know more, you can become a Patreon supporter for as little as $1, $5, $20 per month. It's up to you. You can cancel at any time. And you'll get exclusive access to instructional videos on the spiritual, on the esoteric, videos that will teach you about proper breathing exercises for longevity and health, videos on how to meditate to relieve anxiety and stress in your life, how to do rituals to contact the ancestors or summon a spirit for your protection, how to do a money ritual. And if you are an Asera level supporter, you'll get all your Oracle readings for free. So become a Patreon supporter today. Last but not least, share this video with family and friends so we can get the revolution started. So Haru Nefer, may Buddha bless you. Grand Rising. You might notice that I'm wearing this cap. I was walking in the mall the other day and I saw it and I said, oh man, this is an Avengers cap. I got to get this. It's got a patch for all the Avengers, the Black Panthers over here. And so I said, this is pretty cool. Plus it was inexpensive as well. So I said, I'm going to get this. What was so cute is they had a version for kids too. So, but I got the last adult cap. So it may be a collector's item. Who knows, you know? So I haven't been broadcasting for about, I think it was about a week or so because I have been not feeling well. And the reason I've not been feeling well is because I've been working night and day. I mean, literally night and day. I've been getting up at 3 in the morning, doing work, and then working throughout the day, a long day. And, you know, when you're working that hard and you're doing all this stuff, it catches up with you. You know, so I started to just feel exhausted, you know, and, you know, if you are like a workaholic like me, I always like to stay busy. You got to remember, like, you got to say, wait a minute, I've got to take a day off. I got to take just some time for me before, you know, I, you know, harm my body further and my mind. And I did that. I took a day off. And that felt really good. I just didn't work on anything, and you know. And what I mean by a day off, let me explain to you, because I am an empath, right? So if I'm perusing the internet and I'm seeing stories on the internet about issues or things that are happening to people, I really empathize with them. I feel their pain. I feel their trauma. So, and there's nothing that I can control, to be honest with you. So I have to take a step back, and I had to shut all that down. I couldn't look at the internet. I stopped perusing YouTube because I said, you know, I'm really taking that on, and it's just causing more damage and stress. So I had to let that go as well. And let me tell you something. Like I said, if you are an empath, you know what I'm talking about. Because if you have friends who are going through difficulties, you feel it. You know, there's one guy. He's another YouTube influencer. I don't know him that well. I just know him. You know, we talked just a couple of times, real briefly. So he's going through something, and I'm feeling that pain. You know what I mean? So you gotta take a step back and say, hey, you know what? I've got this awesome power, but I got to learn how to use it properly, or else I'll get wrapped up into other people's plight, you know. And when you have a number of friends and family members who are going through stuff, you will be just taking it all on. You know what I mean? So just be very careful and aware of that. All right, because the last thing that you want to do is just to emotionally emotionally exhaust yourself. You know, to the point where you can't function. And this is how a lot of people who have natural psychic abilities and things of that nature have gone crazy because they just don't know how to turn off the world. Everything is just hitting them. So it's like, well, how do you turn this off? You know what I mean? But I want to talk about a really good subject here. And you have to understand, like, when I broach this subject, you have to understand this, right? That we live in a world that's corrupt. We live in a world that does not reward people for becoming spiritually evolved, to ascending to a higher spiritual level. You're not going to be rewarded for that. You can be rewarded for being a rapper and have 50 bitches and stuff like that, or 2 cars, and you shooting somebody up, or you got shot 6 times. Yeah, you'll get rewards and accolades for that. Or if you like Cardi B, you drugging guys and stealing, taking their wallets and stuff, you'll get rewards and accolades for that. But no one is going to recognize you for wanting to be Osir, wanting to be Christ-like, wanting to be Buddha, wanting to be Krishna. No one's going to reward you for doing that. That's a self journey. And you see, this is why Christianity is a very, very flawed religion, because Christianity is based on superficial acts of kindness to get you into heaven. So the whole idea of Christianity is it preaches you do this and God will reward you. But it doesn't take a look at inside the person. I can go give $1 million out to everybody, but that doesn't mean that inside I'm a good person. I could be angry and bitter and still give away that money. But according to Christianity, that's a good gesture and you'll get into heaven. You know, I'm exaggerating, of course, but you understand what I mean. So we are on a journey to become Osir. That's the highest spiritual level in the Kemetic spiritual tradition. And there's going to come a point where if you're doing what I've taught correctly, and I talked about this in previous broadcasts, you're going to pop. Well, what is popping? Popping means basically total transformation. Total transformation. That's what popping is. And when that happens, it's going to be the most wonderful feeling you've ever had. Let me explain. If I'm working on giving, seeking nothing in return, because I'm a very selfish person, well then, if I'm doing the Ma'at meditation, because Ma'at is the goddess of giving, and I work on that for 28 days, which is a full lunar cycle, then there'll come a point of when that behavior will become hardwired into me. And by default, I'll act with kindness and giving and not even have to think about it. It's not a conscious thought. That's what I call a pop. That means that the behavior now has transferred to the conscious waking brain, from the conscious waking brain to the subconscious mind, where you're now on autopilot. Person who's afraid to fly if you're doing the meditation correctly, the Haruka meditation correctly, there'll come a point where after 28 days, flying won't bother you anymore. That means you popped. It has become part of your hard drive. It's a new hard drive, or it's a new operating system. Let's put it to you that way. So it's a wonderful thing when you realize that it has taken hold. And I experienced this recently because, I still have a battle sometimes with shyness, surprisingly. And I went into this in a circle of people who were very influential and important. And I was just like talking, yapping. I was like the life of the party, man. And I didn't realize it until after. I said, hey, I usually get a little bit of apprehensive or nervous around that. And I said, but I was on, man. I was operating from, as Bashar says, my highest excitement, a high state. So, and it felt so darn good. I didn't realize what was going on until after the fact. This is how I was able to cure myself from childhood trauma. Me and my brother and I, proper English, went through a terrible, terrible time in our childhood. Terrible abuse by both my mother and my father. Unimaginable abuse. To the point where my brother didn't know where to turn for help. But luckily, I found the Kemetic spiritual tradition, and I started working on everything. I checked the boxes. To where not only was I becoming what we would say, quote, a normal person. I had low self-esteem. I had a lot of anxiety. You could see my hands shaking all the time. A lot of things. I was nervous in front of people, especially women, because I thought I was going to get hit, But when I popped, I overcame all of that. And I was free. And not only was I free, I gained spiritual power. Isn't that wonderful? I had gained spiritual power. That was the added benefit. Our community as Black people is broken. It is toxic, our culture as Black people. It is toxic as hell. And the main dominant society is not going to tell you that. They want to pretend like we are okay. We are not okay. But see, they want us to implode, which is why they won't be honest with us and say, you people got problems. Which is why they can't be honest with themselves and say, white people, we got problems. We have this thing ingrained within us called racism. They're never going to admit that, because then they will be held accountable for their treatment of us. You know what I'm saying? You have to get the Metu Netta by Ra Unefa Amen if you want to learn more about the spiritual teachings. You know what I mean? So that will give you everything you need to know to start. So it's going to be Metu Netta Volume 1. Okay? Now, don't get it twisted. It wasn't easy for me to overcome all of this. Hours and hours of meditation and taking note, taking an audit of my issues, being truthful with myself, observing how I act, going to the oracles, you know? And that was one point a month ago. I had to pat myself on my back and say, Qesankh, you have come a long, long way. Because I'm a perfectionist, so I was never happy. Because I would notice things issues that I would still have. Couldn't look. I mean, if you had seen me like 3 years ago, or maybe 4 years ago, I could not look an authority figure in the eye. I was always looking down. And that's because if I would look at my father in the eye, he would punch me in the face. You know what I'm saying? He would literally punch me in the face. So your subconscious mind takes that in to the core programming, you know? And tries to protect you by not looking people in the eye, but then it comes off, especially with people you work for, as disingenuous, as if you're trying to hide something. But I worked on that. I got subliminal tapes to help me with that specific issue. So I had to take a moment to really congratulate myself. And I said, hey, I've come a long, long way, but there's still more territory to be charted. You know what I mean? More territory to be charted. And it's going to be like that. You're not going to just do 1 or 2 meditations and you'll be set for life. It doesn't work that way. You're going to be constantly working on things because society is socially engineering you. It's always influencing you. So you have to be careful. You know what I mean? So when something may come along that if repeated a number of times, it'll become part of your operating system. And now you got to purge that because it's a negative behavior. So you have to be like Haru, the hawk. You've got to be vigilant and put up what I call that filter of what you will allow into your sphere of awareness. That's why I don't get into certain social circles where they're talking about certain things. I was walking in the Walgreens the other day, and I'm hearing this music. It's just like R&B, and the woman's singing, "You are my everything. I can't live without you." And I was like, man, that's very detrimental to say that my life depends on someone else, and their approval of me determines whether or not I live or die. I'm not going to give somebody that much power. That's crazy. You know? Those are terrible songs. You are my everything. My life has no purpose without you. I mean, what kind of stuff, who puts that kind of stuff together? You know what I'm saying? It's funny. That's insane. But this is the world we're in. It's a sick world. It's very sick. And you're not going to get rewarded. You're going to get some amazing spiritual powers, but the dominant society is not going to reward you. You know what I mean? In the old days, and going back to antiquity, sages and philosophers were highly rewarded. But they've done away with that. So now I want you to start working on yourself, for no one else but yourself. Because we are not well. People are like, no, I'm okay. No, you're not. It's a fish bowl. If the water is polluted, all the fish are going to be sick. And it's those people who talk about, oh, I'm okay, I'm well, are the most diseased, ill people. And that is the highest way to honor God, is to try to be the likeness of God. See, these Christians in their screwed up religion walk around, try to consciously do things by being nice to people, by giving to charity. That's not how you do it. You look within and say, what's going on inside? Well, I have mother issues. I have daddy issues. Well, I have all these negative conditionings. I'm greedy. I have a lot of lust in me. And then work on that. God doesn't... See, you going out there and being nice to people and giving to charity, that's a given. You get no credit for that. You should do that anyway. Don't pat yourself on the back for that, man. Don't. This is why all these religions, which once had meditation, they took it out. They removed it. When I went to study this Japanese martial arts and found out they removed Kujikiri, equivalent to the Japanese black magic, I was upset. But this is what the ruling elite has done to keep us from exploring the inner workings of our mind. Oh, and also, another note on that, I have been doing a lot of astral projection, astral traveling. It has been fantastico. Fantastico. I've gone to places where it has just been amazing. And I'm working on now getting to the point of where I can go there at will. So meaning I can return to those different realms and interact with those different beings. And it is the most extraordinary thing. Now, here's the danger, because I was thinking about this and I actually read a book that addressed this the other day. And it just so happened the book addressed this. I said, man, there's a danger in what I'm doing, in a sense that I'm enjoying going to these realms more than I enjoy living in the real world, which we call real. It's not really real. It's just one of many. This reality is one of many realms, okay? And I said, what if I got to the point where I didn't want to be in this realm anymore? I could delete myself just so I can go and be in a different realm 24/7. And I bet people have done that. Because if you find a realm that pleases you so much, you may want to stay there and not want to be in this realm. But see, you know the reason you're in this realm? Because you're helping God experience this realm. God needs to be able to experience this realm. What is this realm? It's 4D. It's 4D. You made that agreement before coming to earth that you would help God. You would be the vehicle by which God places his consciousness within you so you can experience 4D. It's fine for you to visit these alternate realms, but you can't stay there, because that's not what you... If you were supposed to be there, you would have been reincarnated there. You know, it's interesting how everything that's really good for us, the ruling elite has eliminated it from our lives. Meditation can increase your IQ to unbelievable levels. Yet it's not allowed in schools. Christianity says all these negative things about meditation, even though doctors know it has a really good health benefit. I'm telling you, if our kids in school